So let's go ahead and get started and move things forward. We do cards for different reasons. Sometimes we feel excited about something, sometimes we feel disappointed, sometimes we need cheering up. One of the reasons I wanted to teach pop-up cards is, especially during this time, we do need to feel connected with one another. And I'm sure right now you can think of somebody that could use maybe some cheering up, or just a simple, hey, I love you, or I'm thinking of you. And I bet you that card will really make their day. So when we are doing our cards today, not only are we benefiting by learning a new art form, perhaps, or improving on an art form, but we are also doing something special for somebody else. So let's go ahead and move forward and start by actually folding our first piece of paper in half. So we're folding it, here's the lengthwise, we're folding it on that side. And what we're going to do is we're going to match up our corners a little bit. All right. So we're just looking to kind of get those corners to match up, and we're folding it. And so I'm going to do that one more time. And we're doing it so that we can create two cards. All right. So let's go ahead and start cutting and moving this forward. So for one of the pieces of paper, what we are going to do is we're going to create a tool to help us out. And what we're creating is the equivalent of a triangle right here. And I do not want, unless you have one already, great. But I didn't want to ask your parents to have to get something else. So let's just make our own, right? It's called being resourceful. And what I was thinking we can do is, actually, before we even do our triangle, why don't we do this? Why don't we practice your folds? We're going to fold this one more time, matching those corners. Okay, so let's create our tool set. Now, I think since we're trying to make a triangle, let's use the part that we haven't cut on, because then we know it's being cut, okay? So what we're going to do is create our triangle. Okay, so let's create our tool set. Now, I think since we're trying to make a triangle, let's use the part that we haven't cut on, because then we know it's being cut, okay? So what we're going to do is create our triangle, because we're going to use this tool a lot. Let's go ahead and make our triangle. I mean, you can do it all the way up to here if you want, but I'm kind of just trying to make it so it's not super big. So go ahead and make that line, and we're going to cut along that so we have our tool. So now we are creating the equivalent of a right angle right here. Boy, you can tell this has really been used a lot. All right, and now we don't have to buy anything, which is great. So now I have two triangles, I only need one. Okay, so let's get started here. Now the goal here is we are going to make a birthday card. And I'm going to leave that there so you can just kind of move ahead. Okay, so let's go ahead, turn the folded side towards you like this, all right? The folded side towards you. And what we're going to do is we're going to do, here's the word I used before, is we're going to eyeball things, which means you're going to look at something and not use any specific measurement. So for the first mark we're going to make, we're going to eyeball it, all right? And I'm looking at this here and I'm like, I want my card, maybe this base of the cake to start around here. And this is a decision that you make, you know? Let's say it starts like right around the 1 inch mark. And again, it's just, you can just pick any mark. It could be here or here or here. I just did that because I have my ruler set right underneath it. Okay, so let's say it wasn't 1 inch, it doesn't matter because you are going to use your tool and you're going to be like, all right, I'm going to match this edge right to here and I'm going to make my mark. I'm matching it, matching it, matching it. Make my mark right here. Boom. All right. And again, you are using pencil. If you use a pen, don't worry about it because this is the back of the card, but I'm doing it so you can see. All right, and then you're going to line that line up, keeping this right here. Okay? And this is how we make measurements without having to look at numbers. Now we know it's exactly the same distance as that if our measurements are good. Okay? And let's use that one more time. I'm lining this line up here and I'm going to make a dot right where the corner of my triangle is. In fact, I made it so that you can actually see where the dot is. Okay? And I'm going to do that again. I'm lining that line up to this line here. I'm going to make another line. In fact, you could have done it too, which is better because it's the ways you can see how this is. Okay. Now, if you want to use your triangle, use the straight edge of it, and you can connect the dots. So start up at the line. All right. And do the same thing here. You do not have to do that, but it might help you later. And I'm going to do it one more time. All right, now here is the part that I'd love for all of you to look up and see. All right, I am going to lift this part up. All right, and we're going to keep it so it's straight right across. Okay, go ahead and open up your card a little bit, and you're going to, I'm sure you guessed it by now. You are going to push that through. All right. Oops. And I could have actually creased that even harder. So that the folds are coming in. So here, I'll do that again. All right, you're pushing it through. And what's tricky about this is the paper, obviously doesn't necessarily want to do that. It's a one-dimensional plane, and we're forcing it to become three-dimensional. All right. So one more time. All right, we're going to take that and kind of opening it up, right? Open the card up, and you are getting your little thumbs, and you're pushing it through. Okay. And then you turn it around and you sort of help it out. Because again, the card doesn't necessarily want to do that. We're kind of forcing it to do that because that's the point of this whole thing. We're making it dimensional. Okay? All right. So we have this right here. And what we're going to do next is we're going to eyeball the next thing. And it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing to be careful of is before you guys start cutting, you're not going to cut this at all. Do not cut this part. We're just going to cut this part. So let's go ahead and eyeball it. The second tier is what? A little bit like that. Let's say like around here. All right. All right. So here we go. You know, the point of this whole thing is we're just trying to get that mark and for you to have an edge so you can do it on the other side again. Yeah?
Okay.
So here's this. And you are moving it over, matching it up to this side. Okay? And making a little mark here. Like that. You know, so the question is, you know, how tall do you want that middle layer to be of your cake? So I'm going to say, hey, I want it to be about this high. You can do whatever height you want. I'm just going to extend this line up. And we don't actually have to worry too much about where that, like a dot ends, because when you take your scissors and you insert it in, the first fold actually keeps you from going too far. All right, so just go to as far as you can. If you want to pull it back again, you can from that point. But, you know, basically, just go ahead and cut. And then insert your scissors again. It won't go past a certain point. And you're going to cut. Okay? Let me do that one more time. And do the second layer, okay? Go ahead and lift that up. You can feel the paper resisting a little bit, but just massage it through, because we're forcing the paper to do something different than just lie flat. In the beginning, it's like, no, I don't want to do it. Okay, one more time. All right, so we're going to do it one more time. Eyeball. Use your triangle to get that mark. Did it again. Now we're getting a little bit more practice, I think, doing the same kind of method, right? Now go ahead, everybody, in group one. All right, and I pushed it through. So, you know, you can imagine your cake to be whatever. I am going to do on this one like a big old swirl. You know, and you can even, you know, make like berries. It could be like a fruit one. Could also, like I did in this one, you can color in, or if you have some, you know, paper that you like, the color you like, you can just cut them out. That's fine too. So go ahead and find a colored piece of paper that you feel speaks to you at this moment. It could be blue, purple, red, pink. Right now, I think the red is kind of saying, choose me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, we've had a lot of practice folding now, right? Let's go ahead and fold this in half, match the corners. This kind of does matter with the corner matching part because this is kind of where the final card is going to be. And you're going to place your card inside here. And you don't have to do this at this very second, but we're going to, I have a ruler, but you can go ahead and decide even later how big you want your card to be. I just made a decision just because this is easy for me to do, is just to use the width of the ruler itself. But you know, if you're not here at this point, you're going to do this at home. You're going to just decide how big you want your card, okay? And this is kind of the important part. Make sure that this is flat. Again, we're kind of forcing it to do all sorts of things, this piece of paper. And I would just get my glue stick. So I'm just gluing away here. And you're just going to simply place it, match where the folder is, okay? Make sure everything is already really pressed down. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I feel like it's pretty straight. And I'm going to take this side and I'm going to fold it and I'm going to kind of press it down. And the reason, this is an important technique because later when you start doing more things, you're going to realize it's important to do one side and then the other. Otherwise, things start to buckle, okay? Meaning, you know, come up in a way that you don't want it to come up. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that other side. I'm just going to lightly do it. And then I'm going to fold it in. And I'm going to press it down like that. And then it lifts up. And here's your card, guys. So here's our cards. And let's quickly do a party hat. You know, I'm almost thinking if you want, you know, you could almost, honestly, you could almost use your triangle if you want. Let's actually save some time and be resourceful. That's my favorite word, right? I'm going to use that as my party hat, my triangle. I'm kind of just eyeballing it again. So here's my triangle. That's done. And what I'm going to do, though, is when I cut, just to save one time a little bit, just so you can see, I'm going to cut at a slight circle now. You can cut your party hat and make it straight. Why not?
Now, if you like that video, make sure you hit the like button to help us grow the YouTube channel, and hit the subscribe button to make sure that you get notified for future videos. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.